Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. So, for the last few weeks, we've been really looking at how thoughts, traumas, and toxins affect our health and what we can do to deal with it. We've also been calling it how we eat, move, and think. We've already dealt with how we eat at a certain level, and movement is pretty straightforward. It's an essential nutrient. You got to get up and move, and it's essential not only to have motion of the body, but also to have all the appropriate joint function in your body because of the feedback and the impact it has on your nervous system, especially the central nervous system. But now we're going to start looking at the thoughts or the think part of it, also known as how to handle stress. So another way of looking at it that's a little more common or starting to become popular is what they're calling NES. And NES stands for nutrition, exercise, stress management, and social interaction. So we're really going to deal with stress over the next couple of weeks because how we deal with our thoughts and the huge impact it has on our everyday health and response can't be underestimated. And it's probably the least understood part of dealing with our environment and things that we can control to keep our body functioning at its highest level. So because of that, it's a little more complicated and it takes a little more open-mindedness for people to do it and a little more effort. Because for you to get to where you're connecting your mind and body, that's another new term for this, they're now calling it MindBody Health. It takes a little effort, it takes a little repeated practicing, and the long-term benefits are outstanding, and it's amazing the difference it can make for people. But it takes a little more time, it takes a little more discipline, and so therefore we're going to talk about a lot of different options, because what we find is what works really well for one person, such as meditation, may drive another person nuts, but they do amazing in something like Tai Chi. So we're going to look at how these things work and why they work, and then help you kind of explore different options and see what works best for you. Because some people get a little benefit from all of them, and then other people, there's one thing that just really seems to center their energy and their communication in their body. So when we're talking about this, what we're really talking about is, again, your brain runs absolutely everything in your body. So when we're in a stressful environment, which most of us are 24/7, 7 days a week, how you respond to that stress has a huge impact on whether you're in a healing pathway, which is neurologically called parasympathetic, or if you're in a fight or flight or sympathetic response. And you can kind of tell that just on your own. You're at the end of the day and your jaws are tight and your shoulders are tight and you're walking around, and if anyone even looks at you, you feel like you're ready to take them out. You're in fight or flight. Whatever's been going on for the day, you've responded in a very fight or flight or sympathetic manner. Now, what's wrong with that is there's a chemical cascade. When the brain perceives you in fight or flight, this certain cascade trickles down. And that trickle down of chemicals determines what your body does. So when we're in fight or flight, your body shuts down digestion, your body shuts down the healing process, it increases your blood pressure, it increases your cortisol release. Now, what that does to your body is it inhibits it from regulation. The other thing it does is it changes what is known as your heart rate variability. And heart rate variability is a really great way to be able to tell if your body's sympathetic and parasympathetic is balancing each other. And what happens when we're in fight or flight is the parasympathetic gets pushed away as your relaxation side of your nervous system gets kind of shut down. And now you're just in sympathetic or fight or flight. And what that does to your heart is it makes it cadence with no variability, which sounds like, I would think that's good, but it's actually not. Your heart should actually have a lot of variability, and it's a response of your body responding to its environment. So when you're overstimulated or you have fight or flight and it stays at a constant cadence, what happens is then when you have something new, the body's not adapting properly, and we start seeing things like sudden heart attacks and stuff like that occur in people that are really overstressed and not taking care of their body. So when we're talking about fight or flight, what we really want to do is start looking at, over the next 5 to 7 days, start looking at how you're handling your stresses, whether they're small stresses like the person at the stop sign annoying you, or are you driving down the road, freeway, and you're flipping people off all the time? Or if you're yelling at your spouse and there's really not a need, it's just that's what comes out when they say something that you're not quite in agreement with. That really tells you that you're running in fight or flight and not handling stress well. Now, there's the other extreme. You can be too parasympathetic. It's not very common, very uncommon. but that does happen too. But it's such not the norm. Even though we will deal with parasympathetic, and we definitely want to bring most people towards parasympathetic, when you're completely lethargic to where you don't care anymore, we kind of think of it as depression, and extreme depression, those types of things, that person is shut off completely, and that's where almost parasympathetic's taken over too much. So what we're going to think about today and for the next week is pay attention to how you're responding. Pay attention to how tight you are when you get home. Pay attention to if you're getting low-grade headaches by the end of the day. Now, obviously, it can be your eyes and stuff, but if it's something that's coming out of your shoulders and neck every day, it's stress. And then really start trying to think how things that are triggering you, what your first thought is. Because our thoughts create our reality, and our thoughts create our emotional response. So part of the thought process and learning how to have thoughts or stress not become a way of becoming subluxated or putting stress on the nervous system is learning how I'm responding, kind of identifying how I'd like to respond, and then what do I have to do in the middle to have what I want to respond as become my norm, not what I've been doing, because the brain doesn't auto set. So you're going along and your response has been, okay, so now, even though this event happens, you're going to have to make yourself not have that because your brain is on autopilot. We have to retrain our brain to, and we can because it's neuroplastic, to say, no, when this happens, I want this response. And the first time you do it, it's going to be completely thought controlled. But if you keep doing that and keep practicing, what'll happen is this will become your new response. And what that's going to do is not kick off that cascade of negative fight or flight chemicals. It's going to actually kick off the parasympathetic one, which allows you to heal and sleep and have less anxiety and have a better positive outlook towards life. So this part is going to be over the next few weeks. We are going to talk about everything from biofeedback, Tai Chi, yoga, meditation, just positive thought processes, simple things you can do throughout your day, deep breathing, taking 30 seconds before you go into a stressful meeting, taking the deep breathing, putting the positive thoughts into your system before you walk into that situation, because it can have a huge difference, not only in how your body responds at the moment, but this stuff has been shown to be building up, and we see it building up to the negative. In cases of extreme fibromyalgia, it's been linked to breast cancer in women that are under a lot of stress. It's been linked to all kinds of chronic high blood pressure, heart disease especially. So if we can learn to kind of take care of this daily, it's very preventive on a chronic level long term. So that's what we're going to head into. I'm glad you guys came today, and I hope to see you next week. And give us a call at 601-1313, and we'll help you find your journey to health. Thanks.